Welcome back to this live broadcast. I actually had an error. I was actually talking without the audio on, and of course I've said so many critical things that I'm actually I have to say them again. So I have to begin this broadcast again. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and I want to appreciate you wherever you are, Biafrans and non-Biafrans, whoever you are, and you love freedom, and you are desperate for freedom, and you are okay with freedom, and you know that freedom is all you need to actually move forward. I want to appreciate you for joining me. I want to thank James Obiora, who actually called my attention to the fact that I've been speaking without an audio for a while. Thank you, James Obiora, for giving me that attention, or for actually notifying me that I've been speaking without. I said so many important things, and I just said them without an audio. But we're back here anyways, and we're going to talk about them. I want to thank you all for joining this broadcast. It is another day that today is the 27th day of 27th, am I correct? Yes, 27th day of September 2022. Today is Tuesday, and of course we know that lots of things are happening. And yes, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you, James. Thank you, James, for letting me on that. Yes, thank you for making me. I actually didn't know I muted it here. I was just talking without that noticing that. And I want to welcome you. Now, you see, we are in a critical stage. We have gotten to the point, that Mazi Simon and, of course, the autopilot mood people have been calling it the Wotowto stage. Of course, we know what Wotowto is, the stage where we are actually taking our destiny in our hands. I actually wanted to talk about the British, and just like what we did last night in the joint broadcast, but I'm going to be doing that maybe if I have the time in the evening to talk about that, to actually explain the role of the British, and so that reference will be to see and have a clear glimpse and a clear picture of how the British, have been very, 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 very brutal in the course of what is happening to us. And of course, this is a very, very important thing we have to keep digging into, because it will help our people to understand the gravity of the mess that have been done to us, done to our psyche, done to our reasoning, done to our intelligence, done to our people, done to Biafrans and all, and done to the race of the people in the dark and colored people all over the nations of the world. Thank you so much, Mrs. Maureen Hinks, for joining. They will also thank you so much. I'm grateful for joining. I'm happy that you are here, and we are good to go to talk about some critical things. I want to give in this broadcast a vivid explanation. That means ABC explanation of command and control. My basic purpose is to see that Biafrans understand everything that has to do with this freedom. We are not in a secret cult. We are in the cause of our freedom. And I want you to remind you something here. You see, the reason why these Zama people, Muhammad Abbas, have used the concept of command and control to manipulate our people so that they don't really understand, what it is, because they know that, yes, please share this. Broadcast so that people can join, get it round, so that people can hear what we are saying, so that we can reach more people, because we want to educate people. We want to make people understand. We have to keep speaking so that people will understand. You see that Mazin Namdekano, when he began this stuff, he was the only one knowledgeable. When he was talking, people were not understanding what he was saying, because they actually didn't understand what he actually meant. They never saw the light of what freedom is. They were just, they were just there, and they didn't understand what freedom actually is. And so he gathered people who actually were not sensible, who were not reasonable, who didn't actually know what freedom is all about, and he gathered them. Of course, the motive was to teach them and see that they all can begin to understand what it means to go for freedom, so that they'll begin to understand what it means, to have an understanding, and then follow him in the path of what he is going after. He wanted to teach them, but Muhammad Abbas and co, all they are interested in, when Muslim Namdekan started, because of the situation and the problems that came along when Wazirike was there, people who are intelligent, people who are intellectuals, people who knew what it means to be in freedom and people who had the good heart didn't actually come in with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because they felt that it was the same thing, the usual thing, people were waiting to see if this is real. They wanted to know if it is real so that they will be able to join. And so, yes, Madam Morihin said yes, because people need to hear the truth. Yes, we need to hear the truth. That is why we're doing this. That is why I'm teaching here. That is why, we are doing the works we're doing. As much as we are seeking for freedom, we are also teaching so that people can understand, the concept of what we are into. You can't be in a thing. You can't expect to be in something without knowing what you are into. And that is what the Nzama people had done all this while. And so they use the concept of command and control as a tool of blinding the eyes of Biafrans. And of course, Biafra, because of the love we have for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we actually thought that what they are saying about, they are saying about command and control is actually true. Because our people have thought that command and control, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said you should listen to DOS. People didn't understand what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu actually meant. So our people need to know what is happening and what they need to know so that they will know how to follow rightly. Because if you don't know, you will not follow rightly. You need to follow rightly. And to follow rightly, you need to know, because what you know is your limitation. That is what you know now is your limitation. But what you can learn is your increase factor. So if you will increase in life, you must understand the place of learning new things and understanding what you are into. If you don't understand your mission, your vision, your purpose in life, you will not understand, you will not even, acknowledge opportunities when they come, because you will not even know how to apply your opportunities to the fact of your purpose. Because this is at the point where your purpose meets opportunities that you can now begin to talk about, success and, of course, moving to your destination. So these are the factors. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gathered all these people. Of course, the intention was to teach them to come to understand as he understands. But of course, that these Nzama people came because they wanted IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, in the corporate format to be a place like a family meeting, where they collect monthly dues, and then when they collect the monthly dues, and then they just organize protests and organize shows, organize meetings, organize some jamborees where they come to show themselves and to make themselves, to make themselves, known, and to show that they are actually, the area, this command, they are in charge of this command, they are in charge of this location, they are in charge of this, they have this title and all of that title. They were interested in continuity in blindness, continuing the process in blindness, or continue the process in a kind of way that will profit their pockets. But when people like us began to realize that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is true, we began to come out, and that is why we are all here. That is why we are here right now, to actually let Biafrans understand that the true people have come into it. People who understand what it takes have come into it. That is why now you can see the speed that we are achieving this. Now we have gotten to the stage, the Wotowto stage. Of course, you know the code, Wotowto. The stage where we are now dealing with the enemies. We are dealing with them with our sit at home. We are dealing with them in the bushes. We are dealing them with our tactics. We have, of course, we are engaging them in guerrilla tactics right now. They can't stand us. We are dealing with them. It is the Wotowto stage. The Wotowto is the code for the action of now. Wotowto is the code for the action we're applying right now for the liberation of our people. And of course, the most important thing is the liberation of our people. It is not how comfortable we can be in having regular family meetings monthly to collect monthly dues so that we can organize protests and all of that. No, we are not interested in all those jamborees, because it is that kind of jamborees for people who are selfish, people who actually want to capitalize on other people to keep doing the wrong things. And all of that. And we are not set for all of those rubbish. We are set for freedom. That is what we have come to do. And the cost of freedom is value. Is a value that gives. It's a value added concept. The cost of freedom is a value added concept. And if you want to understand the value of life, see yourself in the realm of freedom. Most of us who can testify of this, most of us who have traveled out and we're abroad, you can know that abroad there are some things you will do right and there's some things you do. You feel comfortable doing them, and you are at least you are relaxed that you are doing them, because you now see yourself in a community or in an environment of freedom. When you find yourself in an environment of freedom, you discover that you begin to harness your gifting. You begin to acknowledge the things you can do. Let me tell you something. The reason why Biafrans have not maximized the fullness of their potentials is because they have not found themselves in a conducive atmosphere that actually gives them the mindset of relaxation and the mindset of calmness, so that they can sit and think and reason and meditate and discover more of who they are. There's no way you can maximize knowledge, maximize your potential, maximize who you are, if you don't have an appropriate atmosphere, if you don't have an aura around you that actually is serene and that is actually calm to help you reason and to help you concentrate. That is why you see that the concept of meditation is very vital in life. You see the Buddhists, you see those people who are into voodoo. They use the concept of meditation to get results. Even God himself tells us as Christians to get to understand concept of meditation. That is why David said, he said, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable. Now, the place of acceptance is actually becomes relevant in the place of meditation, because it is in meditation that you can voice out what you have captured in the realm of the spirit. That is why you can't defeat Biafra, because Biafra is a product of the spirit, both dead and dead people who actually have a spirit that is alive, and the living people who actually have a spirit that is alive. So the concept of the dead with a lively spirit, or a living spirit, and the living with a living spirit is meeting at the point where opportunity has come for us right now to take our freedom. That is the opportunity where they have now organized election, something that is profitable to the enemy. Let me tell you something. Election is profitable to the enemy, but our opportunity is in the provision of this election. We use this election as a means of passing our message and getting what we want. That is why the Bible says that all things work together for good for them that love the Lord and that are called unto his purpose. All things work together for good for them that love the Lord. You see that one in Romans, in the book of Romans chapter 8 or so, verse 23 or so, you see that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto his purpose. So even in our mistakes, we will still have the right thing done and we'll still have the right result, because God uses the mistakes that we have, because he knows we're humans. We'll always make mistakes, but the mistakes are actually used for the concept of all of this. I'm not going to go deep into that for now, because I want us to face the topic of today. The topic of today is so sacrosanct and so important to the mandate of now. Now, I want you to understand that command and control is connected to the actions we are taking right now. But Biafrans must come to understand what command and control is. But before I explain what command and control is, I want to explain something here, which I've explained before in previous broadcasts. You see, IPOB means Indigenous People of Biafra. IPOB is a nation. That means a nation of indigenous people. The nation is called Biafra. The people are indigenous. So the concept of the nation is qualified by the people. You can't talk about Biafra without talking about the people. That is why the name Indigenous People of Biafra is very, very important to understand. Indigenous people, because if you are going to talk about Biafra and you don't talk about the people, then you are not making sense. Because every nation and country has people, and these people are they are the subject of that nation, or they are the ones who qualify that nation. They are the noun and the adjective of the nation. Noun in the sense of the person of the nation, adjective in the sense that they are the expression of the nation, and then also the verb of the nation as the action of the nation. So you understand that the people of Biafra represents Biafra in the context of being a noun, which means they give definition or personality or a person, an entity to the nation Biafra. And they also deal with it in adjectively, because they represent and they are a representation of the nation Biafra. That means in adjectival form now, they are representation of Biafra in adjective. And then when it comes to verb, they are the action, the projection, and the manifestation of what Biafra represents. So in this understanding now, you know what Biafra means. Now, as Biafra as a noun is a nation of people, indigenous people. As an adjective, is a nation of people that qualify the nation, and that nation is Biafra. Now, as a verb, that is where I want to go now. Biafra as a verb. Biafra is a verb when we now designed the concept of IPOB corporate organization, Indigenous People of Biafra corporate organization, which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu registered as a corporate entity. As soon as that registration was done, we became an active verb. What do I mean by active verb? Remember, the nation of Biafra as a noun has been defeated, because what we mean by noun is that it is a person. You are Biafra, I am Biafra, we are Biafrans. So we all being Biafrans make up the nation, which is qualified as a name, Biafra, as an adjective. You know, we qualify it as adjective, you know. Now, but for us to actually understand what we are doing now, we must see and look into the realm of our action, which is the action of the verb. God bless you, my brother. What is what we need now? Yes, it's what we need. And that is why I'm giving this explanation, so that Biafrans will understand, because I want to explain command and control. So that all this nonsense, all these illiterates who are circulating themselves on social media, trying to manipulate Biafrans and tell them what command and control is not and what it is, you know, telling people, making people, they don't know anything. Thank God that we have come to a stage where intelligent people are coming out to talk about this thing. We want to tell them, I've told them several times, let them come out, let's debate this thing. If they think they have it. Because enough of all this deceit. We are ready to take our freedom. We are dedicated to freedom. We are not here to joke. We have not come to, you know, waste our time for a long time talking about one particular thing. We want to get freedom. We want to get freedom. Every day we go to the streets and start protesting. They kill some of us. They kill us. We run back. We come back. We say we're going to protest. We write to UN. We write to United Nations. We write to ECOWAS. We write to ICC. We write to... for God's sake, we are tired of all those processes. We know our right, and we have come to take it by force. As I was explaining, IPOB as a Biafra as a nation means you and I, who are the noun, Biafra. Biafra is qualified by the people, which makes Biafra an adjective, because it is qualified by the people. Now, Biafra as an action or as a projection of power and sovereignty is Biafra as a verb. You know, verb is a doing word or action word, the simple way of defining verb. So now, applying verb in the concept of IPOB or Biafra, we need to now understand how we are called or how we are a verb. That is when now the story comes to the painful part. The painful part now is that we are no more a sovereign nation. That means we don't have control of our nation. We are not independent. We are dependent on the slave masters. We are not independent. That is why Biafra as a verb is not active and functional, because we are, you know, we are still slaves. That's why Biafra as a nation, as a noun, as a person is not functional. That is why you and I are not functioning well, because we are restricted as slaves. We are not functional because we are still slaves. So Biafra as a verb has not been materialized, because as soon as we were defeated in 1970, we lost our ability to act or to take action in the realm of sovereignty. I want you to understand this. Biafra as a verb. Now, as soon as we lost that ability to operate in the realm of sovereignty, the indigenous people of Biafra can no more be active in the realm of their sovereignty, in the realm of their power. We lost that ability to operate as an independent people. So that means our action or our person as a verb has been altered. That is when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now came up and composed Biafra as a corporate body to actualize the verb part of Biafra as a noun and adjective. I don't know whether you're getting the picture here clearly. Please, if I'm going too deep, please send me a message so that I can explain further. I want everybody to understand what I'm trying to teach here. I want people to understand me very, very well. I want you to really understand me very, very well. Please, if I am not making it clear, just ask me questions, because I want you to ask me questions here. Now, let me put it this way. As Biafra, we've been existing for 400 years before Nigeria was composed. And we had our total sovereignty. We were a Biafra as a noun. That means you and I were people of Biafra. You and I means our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, those who lived as Biafrans before our time. They are the noun. They are also the ones who qualify the nation as adjectives. They qualify Biafra as adjectives. Now, but they also have a sovereign aspect of action. That means the laws, the operations and everything which makes Biafra an active or an action body or an action nation was fully implemented in the context of our laws, our traditions, our cultures, everything that makes us. So you see, Biafra then was actively involved in carrying out its operation as an independent nation. And so Biafra was complete in the sense of a noun which represents the people, in the sense of a noun which represents the people qualifying the nation Biafra, and in the sense of the noun which represents the people, in the sense of the adjective which represents which qualifies the people as epitome or as representation or as an embodiment of the nation Biafra, then in the sense of an adjective which means that the people had a control pattern and a command pattern which is actively independent and actively being operated by the people, and also actively operational in the lives of the people, in the daily acts of the people, in their businesses, that means in economics, in their economic activities, in their social lives and their social activities, in their business lives and everything that has to do with the people. The verb part of Biafra was active. Suddenly, the British came in 1914, took that active part of Biafra, took the noun part of, subjugated the noun part of Biafra, and also subjugated the adjectival part of Biafra. So we now became a Biafra that is defunctional. But for Biafra to be functional or to be refunctional, let me use the word refunctional. For Biafra to be refunctional, we need to utilize that aspect of Biafra that is the verb part, which is the action part. That means we must activate our independence. We must activate our sovereignty. We must activate that part of us that is actional, because it is only the sovereign part of us that will help us to regain our noun part. That means our personalities as Biafrans and our value as Biafrans, and also to gain back our adjectival part, which is the ability to be qualified as a Biafran and respected all over the nations of the world as a Biafran and as an African. That is what now gave birth to IPOB as an organization. Remember, IPOB is still existent as a nation, but subjugated. But for us to be free and get back to getting back who we are, restoring who we are, restoring our qualification, our values, and all of that, we need that what do you call it now? The verb part of us to actually do that. That is what we now utilize to compose the corporate side of IPOB. As soon as the corporate side of IPOB was composed, the functional aspect of it becomes resident on the DOS. Now get this right now. We have entered into the next phase of it, the DOS. Now, from IPOB to DOS, from DOS, now the command and control is now well expressed and explained. Now let me tell you how it works here. The noun part of IPOB, which is the people, make up the adjectival part, which is the qualification or the value of the people. The value of the people, which has to do with the culture and traditions of the people, making the adjective of Biafra, is what forms the verb part, which is the sovereignty and the action. That means the people are governed by their culture, the people who are the noun of IPOB, governed by the culture and traditions of IPOB, or made up of the cultures of the cultures and tradition of IPOB, which is the adjective, and then are actually functional and controlled by the verb part, which is the application of the sovereign command of IPOB. What is the command of IPOB? Remember, IPOB is a nation. We're not looking at IPOB as a corporate body yet, because it is the verb parts that compose that corporate body of IPOB. We are looking at IPOB as the nation. As a nation now, which has to do with the noun and the adjective, and the verb, which is now struggling. Now, the command nature of IPOB is resident in the adjectival aspect of it. I want to call it adjectival clause because it has a totality of everything that makes it up. The adjectival clause of IPOB, of Biafra. Every law, tradition, culture, expectations, sovereignty, and everything that has to do with Biafra is what is called the command of Biafra. Command means commandment. The word command comes from the noun commandment. The word command is a verb which emanates from the word commandment. Commandment is a set of rules, set of culture, traditions, or anything that governs a kind of people. So you see, the adjective part, the adjectival part of IPOB, which are the value system, the culture, the tradition, and everything of the people, is what qualifies the people as a noun. But for the people as a noun to function rightly, there is a place for control. That is where the verb aspect of it now comes to play, which means that the adjectival part of us, which is the command, which represents the nature, the tradition, the culture of the people, is going to be expressed in a way that the people will be subject to what they have agreed to become. They have agreed to become law-abiding. They have agreed to carry out justice. They have agreed to carry out equity. They have agreed to carry out good conscience. It is expressed in the verb part, which is the control. What is the control? Anytime there is an enforcement of a command, it is called control. You know why? Because when you enforce a command or a commandment, you are actually trying to make things normal so that things don't go out of hand. And when you are trying to make things normal so that they don't go out of hand, you are controlling situations. You cannot control situations without a command. Situations are controlled using a command. The command is the total makeup or the total law, the tradition, the culture, which is IPOB in the adjectival concept. It is the law, the traditions, and all of that. Now, as soon as we lost our sovereignty as a nation, we had our command suppressed. That means the culture of the people was suppressed. The traditions of the people were suppressed. The beliefs of the people were suppressed. The religious aspects of the people were suppressed. Everything that the people believed in, and how they operated and everything was suppressed. That means our command was buried with our subjugation. Our command was restricted because we were under subjugation. But when IPOB, the verb part was composed, which is IPOB as an organization, which should bring back that sovereignty that will help us execute the traditions, the cultures, and all of that of the people, it now gave us a legal framework or a legal background to pursue the cause of the total nature of Biafra. What I mean is this: because we cannot operate as a sovereign people, our culture and traditions were suppressed. Our beliefs were suppressed. Everything that we are and everything that we are, everything the way we operate were suppressed. Everything we are, our culture and tradition is our command. The command is what gives us an effective control. Because when you apply the command, the people who carry out the command makes sure that the command is obeyed, or the commandment is obeyed. When the commandment is obeyed, you have brought control into the system. That means things will go as normal. Control means making things go according to a command. Control doesn't mean making people robots or just manipulating them. No, just like what is in Zama, people are trying to make you understand. That's what they say. When it's they say, they just conjure you. You just say it and you have to follow. You just start moving like a robot. No, that's not what control means. Control means that you are carrying out a particular command of the people, a particular rule of the people, a particular nature of the rules and regulations and the laws of the people. So to make sure that the laws and the rules of the people is maintained, you need a control mechanism. That is where you have the soldiers, the police, the whatever you call it. Those days when Biafra was still there, before they got us subjugated and calling us Nigerians, we had a way, the tradition, the chiefs, the shrines and all of that as a means of control. It is not the shrine that makes the law. The law is made by the people. That means the law, what I mean by law here is the command. The people make the command. The shrine and the traditional security people, the local vigilantes and all of that actually makes the control and carry out the control based on the command. These people carry out the control. Yes, of a system. Yes, Mrs. Morin says of a system. Now, these people actually carry out the command. The command is the people and their beliefs. The control is the execution of these beliefs, of what the people believe. So when IPOB organization was composed through the verb part of Biafra, so that we will be able to have an access to pursue our freedom, to get the full nation of Biafra, to restore that full nation of Biafra. When IPOB was composed as an organization and as a system or as an organ, it was registered as a corporate body, as a person, so that we can have a legal platform to talk to the United Nations, to talk to the world, and to fight to get back our freedom. Now, when that IPOB was composed, just like the laws and the nature of Biafra as a nation makes the command, the body, the tissue called DOS was now created inside of IPOB as an organization, not as a nation. Remember, as a nation, it is subjugated, it is suppressed. But as an organization, as a corporate organization, it is seeking to restore the suppressed nation, which is IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra. In trying to restore the indigenous people of Biafra, the nation of Biafra, it uses the concept of the command of indigenous people of Biafra, which is the beliefs, the culture, the traditions. That is why DOS is the command which Mazin Nnamdi Kanu represents. Because Mazin Nnamdi Kanu becomes a representation of the nation of Biafra, representing the beliefs, the culture, the tradition. That is why his teaching and everything was giving us back knowledge so that we can begin to think and get restored by the things that we are, who we are, our cultures, our values, and what we have been through, and the things we've been through, and how they have brought us this low, and how we want to get back to who we are. So Mazin Nnamdi Kanu in the IPOB as an organization became an epitome or a representation of the nation Biafra, which has been subjugated and suppressed. That is why you see that the chain in his hands represents the chain on us. If we don't break those chains in his hands, we are still all bound. We are not free. So Mazin Nnamdi Kanu becomes the representation of the nation Biafra. And what is the nation Biafra? The beliefs, the culture, the people, and everything. That belief, culture, the people, and everything, which is the command of the nation Biafra, becomes the command that is now streamlined to mean DOS, Directorate of States. A directorate, that means the brain box of the state. And that brain box is solely occupied by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, let me explain this. This is where command and control will be explained in the way that we should understand it, how it operates right now, in contrast to what they have tried to make you understand. As soon as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu composed and registered IPOB as an organization, he needed to give it a definition based on the real nation of Biafra, which has been subjugated and suppressed. So for him to give it that nature, because we're trying to restore the verb aspect of who we are, which helps us to carry out or to maintain or to restore the adjectival part of us and the noun part of us. Because you are the noun, you and I, we are subjugated. We cannot function effectively because we are subjugated. And you and I carry the values, which is the adjectival part of us. We carry the culture, the values, and all of that. We cannot express them very well to help us, to benefit us, unless we are free. So what now Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does now, he now registers this body. He becomes a representation of what we are supposed to be as a nation. That burden now stays on his shoulder. He now is the expression of who we should be. He now speaks about who we should be. He now teaches about who we should be. He now talks about who we should be. We are now all embodied in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And of course, why we are Biafrans is because we have a culture, we have a tradition, we have a source. And that culture, tradition, and source is what is called the command that we are. You see how people don't understand it this way? Yes, that is why I'm teaching it, so that our people will understand it. That's why I'm making it easy, trying to talk about it over and over and all of that, so that our people will understand it, giving them a perspective, because I want to use some descriptions to make our people understand. We have to understand this so that we can teach other people, so that we can understand what command and control is. Command and control is not when somebody comes and says, we are no more going to be sitting at home because we want to carry out political solution. No, that is not command and control. That is making rules that negates or that goes contrary to what we are. What we are is freedom. What we are is sovereignty. What we are is culturally rooted in the ability to control and to do our things, carry out our nation, and do the things we are by ourselves. So what you say, if anything you say does not give us a sense of freedom, we cannot take it. Because election does not give us a sense of freedom. No. So it cannot be a control mechanism. It cannot be a command, because election under Nigeria is not in the command of Biafra, because the command of Biafra has to do with our traditions and nature, and there's nothing like Nigeria in our command. So you have to understand all of this. There's nothing like Nigeria in our command. There's nothing like Caliphate, the Sokoto Caliphate, and emirs and all of those guys, Sultan and all of that in our command. Our command, we have the leaders, the elders of the families and all of that. The natural command we have, just like we call it the Republican nature that we are, and democratic nature we are. We have a flow of command of indigenous people. We don't have a command where somebody comes to steal our resources, takes our resources. We don't have such command. So any pattern you give us, anything you tell us to do that actually helps to fuel or strengthen the nature of the strange command, it is not part of us. So it cannot be utilized. It cannot give us control. Rather, it will escalate the situation and destroy everything around it. So that's why I'm giving these explanations in this way, so that we can understand it. Now, think of it. DOS becomes the central point of control using the command of IPOB. What is the command? The traditions, the sovereignty, the culture, the source, where we are from, and what we believe, our beliefs, and our nature, and what we do is our command. And all of these things are represented in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. DOS becomes this program or the aspect of implementing or showcasing this. So that means DOS becomes Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu becomes DOS. because DOS is the command of Biafra. The command of Biafra is the traditions, the culture, and everything that actually we represent. So if we don't look at that in that way, we're going to. So now we're looking at it in this way. Now, DOS, let's look at DOS let's look at the human body. DOS is like the brain. The brain has the storage of all the information about the body. It has the storage of how the leg should work. It has the storage of how the hand should work. It has the storage of the data of how the eyes should work. It has the data of how our system should work. If it is from the brain, that's the control. The storage, the data is the command. The control comes from the command. So DOS means that now we are now going to be taking a place of order emanating from the command so that we can do things rightly. Control means that we are doing the things rightly. But if we don't understand the command, we will not know what is the right thing to do. Now, let me tell you this now. We have now people who are clamoring for election. But you cannot say as Biafrans that our problem is election. Am I correct? Because the only time, please let me just please, I'm in a broadcast. I'll call you back. I'm in a broadcast. I'll call you back now. Which man? Oh. Sorry, please. I needed to pick that call because it has to do with a particular business thing I'm expecting. So, BOS being the brain. Now we have the brain controlling every aspect of the body. Biafra is the aspect of the body. The rule and commandments, or the rule that governs Biafra nation, is the brain. The same way it is now patterned in IPOB or Biafra as an organization, being the body, which has to do with ESN, has to do with you and I and every office that we occupy and everything we do. Now the central control of everything we do becomes the DOS. The DOS becoming the brain. Now, the brain has different compartments, but in total, it is called the brain. In total, DOS is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But in the total, we have different compartments which has to carry out several functions to maintain what the command represents, to actually carry out what the command is actually saying. That is why we now have people who were employed as workers or as officers in DOS. So anybody who works in DOS is actually a worker or an officer of DOS. They are not DOS. Let us stop propagating this message of these people. The DOS said, the DOS this, the DOS is blackmailing. They are not DOS. DOS is a sacrosanct and unique compartment, like the brain, which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu represents. Is it not from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu we learned all the things we're learning? All the things we need to know? Is it not from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu we knew that they are coming after us? They will soon kill us. We should buy arms and protect ourselves. It's not from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu we also got to have ESN. It's not from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu we got to understand these basic things, because he is the brain. But as a brain, you need some vital aspects of the brain to carry out some work. Those aspects are employed inside of the brain to actually carry out these functions. They're actually, designed to carry out these functions. They actually designed to carry out these functions. Sorry, I'm really sorry, because the call is very important. So now, the DOS, those who are working under the DOS, are not the DOS. Hello, please, I'm on a broadcast. I'll call you back. Yes, I'll call you back, please. I'll call you back then. Now, so The DOS being the officers of the DOS, their own is to carry out the command. They are not the command. So when they come to make laws that goes contrary to the command, you should know that they have become corrupted. That is why we have things called surgery. When something goes wrong in the body, you carry out surgery to remove that turmoil, to remove that cancer. The reason why these guys were sacked, because they have become a turmoil. They are no more functional in the command. They are no more functioning as a command. They are now working against the command. So their control mechanism was poisonous or was contrary to the command. When you have a cancer growing or a growth in the body, it's what's contrary to the command of the body function or the metabolism or the total makeup of the body. All you need to do is to carry out, a surgery that will take off that turmoil. For instance, if you have a bad kidney, what they do is they conduct an operation, remove the bad kidney, and look for another kidney to put there. That is how those who work in the DOS are. As soon as they misbehaved, they went against the central command. Everything that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu preached or preaches or have said, everything they are doing is contrary to what he said. At that point, they lost the ability to execute the command for effective control. So, because they have lost that command for effective control, thank you so much, Andrew, Orlando, all hail Biafra. Yes, all must hail Biafra. We are getting our freedom. We are going home. Because they lost that ability to actually carry out the command, they refused to follow the command, but wanted to control in their corrupt nature. Biafrans voted and removed them from the way. That is why today they are defunct. What defunct means is that they have been removed. They are no more functional. They are no more part of it. They are now defunct members of the DOS. They are not defunct DOS. They are defunct members of the DOS. They are not DOS. They are sacked members of the DOS. They are expelled members of the DOS. They are no more part of the DOS, working as officers of the DOS. So let's begin to teach people, stop calling them the DOS. They are not the DOS. The DOS is the command which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu represents. Those who work under him are the workers or the officers who should carry out the command for effective control. The control is not them controlling the people. The control is them making the people follow the orders of the command so that the people can do the right thing. When the people do the right thing, that is when you talk about control, because the command controls the people to do the right thing. These are the things we have to understand. I'm making it ABC explanation so that our people understand. Command is the rule, the culture, the system. And the reason why election is not part of what we want right now is because election goes against our command. Election goes against our culture. You're electing people who don't represent us, who don't represent our image, who don't represent our culture, who don't represent our tradition, who don't represent what we are. They have killed us, they have subjugated us, they have made us poor, they have fought against us, they are still fighting against us, yet you want to carry out the election. The election favors them, it doesn't favor our command. That is what you have to understand. When you go for election, you are allowing the command of the Nigeria system to control you. And when they control you according to the command of the Nigeria system, you can never be a functional state or nation, because you will not actually be grounded in your nation. You will be grounded in the concept of Nigeria. That is why what has been happening to people right now, Nigeria have been happening to them. When you go for election, you have actually endorsed that control. You have actually endorsed that command, and you are being controlled by that command of Nigeria, and Nigeria happens to you. That is why we are saying that we cannot execute or go into executing the command of Nigeria through election, or endorsing the command of Nigeria through election, so that we will not have Nigeria happen to us. Because the more you do that, the control measure is this. Nigeria control measure uses Nigeria command. What is Nigeria command? Their constitution, the caliphate, the Sharia law, the caliphate system, the Fulani killings and all of that. This is the command nature. That is why that Abuja declaration is the command for Nigeria. So when you go into election under that command, you will be controlled by that command. They'll keep killing you, they'll keep subjugating you, they'll keep dealing with you, and you will be in trouble. That is why we have said no election. So now, how does command and control relate to what is happening now? Let's look at it now. Because command and control, I've explained it to you. You can look at this video later, play it later, and listen to it over and over. You will understand it. Just play it over and over and pass it to people. Let them listen. You will understand the fullness of this video. Now, how does it relate? First, you must understand that in the context of the command and the command, Nnamdi Kanu formed the ESN on the 25th of the 5th of December? I can't remember the date now when the ESN was now launched. Suddenly we saw the ESN representing a control measure for the command. That means they will carry out the command for the effective control of Biafra nation. ESN becomes a point of control because they are executing the command, which comes from the point of command, which is the DOS, which is actually in other words, the leadership of IPOB, or the leadership of Biafra nation. Because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is now representing the leadership of Biafra nation. Those people who call themselves Ohanese and all of that, they have been corrupted. They are no more part of it. They are no more part of it. So now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now composes and now raised the dragon flag. The dragon flag is a sign, an evidence of the command. Every command has a... Let me give you an instance. Those days, if you have read the Bible very well, the book of Daniel, you'll see, in Daniel chapter 2, chapter 3, even chapter 4, chapter 5, you see where they talk about staff of office or the seal. The king will have to endorse by putting his seal on it or by his words, becoming a decree, like Nebuchadnezzar, who was a total king, a totalitarian, or the Persian king who needed a seal. They have a seal or a signet or a seal that stamps the control or the command. That thing you see, that seal, is the same as the dragon flag. Dragon flag is the seal that approves of, or that showcases or signalizes, or is a signature of the command of Biafra. That seal, that flag, means that we are now enforcing our action to take back our command, to restore our nation. As soon as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did that, and that flag was raised, he made a prayer. He said, we are now in autopilot, because now it has left the realm of whatever anybody thinks. It has gone into the realm of what the spiritual has composed, what the spiritual has designed. It has come into the realm where automatically the command, which is of course from the root or the source of Biafra as a nation, not of what anybody thinks, because if you talk about us, we want to be comfortable and relaxed. We don't want trouble. We don't want nothing to happen. We don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to cause anybody pain. But because freedom must be restored, and the law of the spiritual nature of Biafra must be enshrined and restored, the autopilot mode must be activated, because it uses the concept of the spiritual power of Biafra and the spiritual establishment and source of control of Biafra to establish or to utilize the concept to bring back the people and the nation, to restore the nation. So when he said autopilot, he now also talked about the new dimension. The new dimension is the strategy of autopilot for the redemption of God's people. And that strategy comes by the dictates of the Spirit leading us in a pattern so that we can get our freedom. That is why you must understand that command and control is not by one person. It's not by one individual staying somewhere and telling you that they have cancelled sit at home, you should go and vote. Or that there's no more sit at home, you have to stay and for joining the election, maybe from the election. No, everything that Mazi Simon Ekpa have been doing, as soon as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, listen to him, and he said, allow him take a slot in Radio Biafra. That means since my voice is not going to be on Radio Biafra for some time now, this voice will represent my voice. Because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has already said that it is an autopilot mode. As soon as Simon Ekpa gets that mandate to his voice to replace Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for the meantime until he's out, he's already in that system of autopilot. Because autopilot is the control coming from the realm of the spirit, which is a mood that makes everybody sitting in the shoes of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's instruction. Do what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to do through the control of the spirit. The control of the spirit is this way. The spirit reveals to the person who sits in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's seat for temporarily to carry out the construct of the command. The person does what is in Nnamdi Kanu's heart. The person cannot do something contrary. That is why you see that every Biafran is going with Mazi Simon Ekpa. Because Mazi Simon Ekpa represents the spiritual implication of the command and is being controlled by that spirit which is resident on the shoulders of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So everything he does, you discover, just watch it, observe it, it goes along the line of the dragon flag, which means force, the force to restore. Dragon flag representing the force or the sovereignty to restore, the power to restore. So you see that everything he does now goes along that line. So how does command and control come to play here? Command and control comes to play as soon as ESN was established. The spiritual nature of IPOB had designed the security unit or the force unit for the execution of the freedom. Then the dragon flag was raised as a seal or as a sign of the force, implementation of force. And then the autopilot mode was proclaimed as an evidence or as a cynosure to the people or as a knowledge to the people to know that this thing that is coming to pass now through ESM and the dragon flag is not going to be controlled by any man, but it's going to be controlled by the command of the spirit of Biafra, which is the culture, the tradition, and everything that makes us Biafra, the source of Biafra. And through this now, this is going to be controlled. Even if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not going to be there, the thing will still go according to how it is supposed to go by the instruction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, designating that authority on somebody. Is called delegated control. Delegated control. He gives that control to Simon Ekpa and says, sit in my place, broadcasting Radio Biafra for the meantime until I'm out. Sit in my place, and the spirit of autopilot will control you. The spirit that controls me, that tells me what I should do, will enter into you, and you will issue orders and control. You will issue instructions based on the command that is already resident in the spirit. So you see it now. It becomes a very, very effective force. Very, very effective force. So now that you are hearing of Wotowto, it is a code of the command. Wotowto is the code of the command. Just watch how we are getting into our freedom. Just watch how we are going to be free. Just watch it and see how we are going to be free. Our freedom has come. We are already in the liberation stage. We are already in it. Nothing can stop us. That is why all you need to do now, listen to instructions. Be selfless. Listen to instructions, whether you understand them or not. Just listen to instructions. If you have to sit at home, you sit at home. If you are told to immediately leave the road or leave the streets, leave the street road and leave the streets. If you need to be public, like what we are doing right now, we are still talking. We are telling you, we are the ones telling you what you need to know. So we give you instructions through the person of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is speaking through the spokesperson of Biafra, Mazi Simon Ekpa. Once that instruction comes out, we tell you, and you take that action to help the control. It is your action that explains the control. It is not somebody somewhere trying to manipulate you, telling you not to sit at home. No. Just know that sit at home, no matter where you hear it from, sit at home is one of the instruments. It must be taken as a form of obeisance to what we're doing. And you must understand that. You must understand that. Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome to join us. We're already rounding off. I've actually talked extensively on this, and I wish that you would just, after this, just go back and refresh and see the details. Honestly, there's some critical points I laid out here that I needed our people to share and broadcast to all social media platforms. This is a fundamental revelation that people need to know as regards to command and control, and also as regards to the application or the implication of command and control to what is happening right now and how we are dealing with the enemies. So our people must take this very seriously. Please share this video on all social media platforms. Tell people to share them. Just send them all over. Tell the people to share them and give them out. Let the people come to understand what this means. ABC explanation of command and control and how it affects what and how it relates to what we are doing now and how it affects us all. So please, all right, yes, I know you're at work. So definitely, we know that of course you have always been there, and definitely, you will definitely look at it later and then get more of the details. Thank you, BIAFRANs, for joining this. Please, I don't know whether you have a question. If you have a question, you just ask quickly, and then I will just answer them because we have exceeded 1 hour. I wanted it to just be 1 hour stuff, and all of that. Yes, ma'am. Please do that. Do that later. And I wanted it to just be 1 hour, but anybody who has a question to ask and you want me to explain some stuff, you can ask me, and then and then we can now and close this. It's very, very important we can now close this because I know that sometimes this thing may not be understood in that way, but when you go over and listen to it over and over, just download it and listen to it over and over, you'll come to understand what this broadcaster actually tells. Thank you so much, my brother Orlando Andrew. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comment. Yes, we have to. It's the spirit of Biafra that is on us that is helping us to actually say the things we need to do and the right things we need to say to our people so that our people can understand. We are desperate to get into our freedom. We are no more in that dispensation where people just sit down. All they are looking for is the month to end so that they can receive monthly dues and begin to spend the monies of the people on irrelevant things. Now we are facing it. All we do is we do our monthly lunch, the fundraising, and twice a month, penultimate weeks, funding so that we can fund and buy arms and ammunition and all the things we need to fight this war, because they have brought a war to us and we're going to fight back and we're going to deal with them according to the code. Wotowto. That is what we're doing now. It is the code, and every one of us understand the code. Sometimes you have to have some kind of code that directs your expression and explanations and all your dictates of the things you do. So the Wotowto code is the code right now. Whenever I say Wotowto, he say all hail Biafra, all hail Biafra, Wotowto. And what code, we use it as a means of dealing with the enemies. They are getting it hot. They know we're not joking this time around. We're very serious. And the spirit of Biafra, the command of Biafra, which is the spirit of Biafra, is with us. And of course, utilizing and using us as a means of reaching out to the people. Definitely, it is very, very powerful. Please listen to instructions. All you need to do now is to listen to instructions and make sure you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time, and all of that. And I want to play what Mazin Kanu's voice so that you will know the extent of how his heart feels. And that is what I'm going to end this broadcast with, so that you will know how his heart feels when he was asking for the 100 men. And I know that you out there, you are one of those people whom Mazin and Kanu have been looking for. 100 men doesn't mean that talking about 100 people. No, 100 men means people who are courageous, no matter how the number of us, how many we are. If we are 2,000, we are 2 million, it is 100 men. 100 men, it's a representation of 100 men. So Mazin Kanu was talking about 100 men, and that 100 men is you and I, and we must make things work in this our time. By this time next year, we are in our nation, and we are building our nation. We are not joking. We are serious about this, and we are doing everything that it takes to actually achieve this. Now listen to this video, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwu Abiyama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwu Abiyama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwu Abiyama, because since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore them, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year. Chukwu Abiyama. You must bring them now. I did not say tomorrow. Because the insult is too much. It is beyond what any human being can endure. We want to go and get Biafra, or we die in the process. Because we are better off dead than witness some of this nonsense going on. The level of insult is beyond what any decent human being can tolerate. I was an Achinama. They bring their cattle into our land. They desecrate our land. They kill us in the presence of our families, and nobody does anything about it. And when the police attend, the police sit idly by as people are being killed by not a multitude of people. Only 4. Only 4 Awasa people can sack an entire village in Biafra land, and we call ourselves men. No, we are not men until we redeem our honor, until we look at integrity and say we must have a part of it. Until then, to be honest with you, this is Radio Biafra. Now is the time to come forward. I did not say tomorrow. Now tonight is the time to come forward. 100 of us, and then we march. 100 and we march. The rest can come later if they want to. I'm tired of broadcasting. I want to fight for my country. I want to carry arms to defend the honor and integrity of my country. I want to avenge the death of 6 million people. I want Biafra to stand as a beacon of hope, freedom, and liberty in black world. I want Biafra to stand as a testament to the glory of heaven upon the face of this very earth. I want Biafra to, because my obligation to the dead outweigh that which I owe to the living. That is why Biafra will stand, and Biafra will come 100 men, that's all. And we march. The rest can come later on. I no longer give a damn. The disgrace and the insult is too much. We must go and meet our enemies, even if we have only machete and hoes. It is far more better for us to go and meet them and die with a semblance of dignity than with this very humiliation which we encounter every blessed day. We must assemble as quickly as possible.
You heard that. This is what pushes us. Our leader was alone, deep in spirit, heavy in his spirit, and lamenting. And he was talking from a very heavy heart. And that is what some people have the courage to go and sell him and do this evil to him. And do this evil to him. But we are going to encourage him. That is why we're here, to encourage our leader. Moses had Joshua and heart to help something, to lift his arms. My leader has no one. How sad and heartbreaking. I believe that you and I make up the people that are going to lift his hands. I believe we all here, those of you who are watching me, you are part of those who will lift the hands of this man. With a pain in his heart, he was alone. He wished he couldn't talk to anybody anymore because everybody around him, including the officers that he had employed into the DOS, they had made him sad. They have made the pain in his heart so much so that he cried out. And that is why that call and that cry is for us all to respond. It's for us all to be part of it. And I want you to think about it. Make your decision today. Don't betray this struggle. Don't betray this fight. Don't sell your brother. Don't sell our men. Don't ever embrace anything election. Don't ever embrace any suggestion that says no seat at home. Anything that makes Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cry this way, you shouldn't be the source of his small cry, or else the curse will be on you mightily and strongly. I feel his pain at this point. I feel that pain heavy in my heart. And I told my God, I'm going to be, as much as he gives me life, I'm going to be a representation of what he wants and what he needed. And I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to lift his hands. And I want you also to make that decision. Join me to lift the hands of Onyendu. Join me to lift the hands of Onyendu. You can never make Peter Obi take the place of Onyendu in your heart. No. When you are screaming for election, you are making Peter Obi take the place of Onyendu in your heart. Onyendu represents Biafra. Onyendu represents love. Onyendu represents freedom. Onyendu represents love, true love, sincere love. No politician can represent that. No, none of the politicians can represent that. They all have houses in Dubai, steal their state money when they were governors, steal the monies and then lodge outside, build hotels, build businesses for themselves, doing importation business. But Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Onyendu, has not built a house for himself. The only house he has in Afrogo is the house his father built. He has no businesses here and there, but he has access to funds. Yet, he refused to use those funds for himself. He has access to milking the people of Biafra. Millions of Biafra all over the nations of the world as they contribute monthly. But yet, he never did that. That is the essence of true love. He still went all the way into, even if you knew it was troublesome, it was strong, it was dangerous. He still went to Kenya and they brought him back, yet he's standing his ground. He's standing his ground. He's standing his ground. And that is why we all must stand to uphold this. We must stand to uphold this. My brother, you said, I need a clarification. I got a news that our leader will be appearing in court next week. There's no confirmation of that news. It has been circulating, but there's no confirmation of that news that he's appearing. He's not appearing in court next week, to the knowledge we have right now, unless if the lawyers come out to say something like that. But for now, he's not coming to court. There's no confirmation, there's no proclamation of that he's coming to court. Next week, we have our sit at home, total lockdown of Biafra land on the 7th of October because of the people who were killed. Next week, Friday. That is what is happening next week, Friday, not court. What is happening next week, Friday, is the total lockdown of Biafra for the people who have been killed and for a leader who is in the dungeon, because he has gone through pain, suffering. His pain has stayed for months and years. 2015, the same process to 2017. Now 2021 to this period also. 2021 to this period, he's suffering more. In fact, somebody said that the suffering of Jesus Christ is little compared to what Nnamdi Kanu suffered. Yes, but of course we know they are for different missions. We're not qualifying Nnamdi Kanu with Christ. No, he's not qualified. We're not qualifying him. That we cannot do that. But we know what he represents to us. To us, what he represents. He has gone through pain. He has gone through suffering. Any instruction we receive, sit at home, we must obey it. Stay away from election, you must obey it. Or else you are making this cry, this voice, you are making it a cross to yourself. Because anything that makes you disobey this voice, that is crying for the freedom of our people, who said as much as, if not that he is called into this mission, he's going to abandon it and not talk to us. But yet, he stood his ground. You must obey instructions coming from Mazi Simon Ekpa, because that is the person he has instructed to go on with this mission as much as he's absent for the meantime. Obey this instruction and see your life get better. Obey this instruction. Be one of those people. Wherever you are in your corner, you must not come on media to broadcast to be one of those people who are actually the 100 men. No, it's not by broadcasting. It's not by doing what I'm doing. It is by, in your little corner, supporting. Give the little you have to ESN through the website www.ipobinusa.org. www.ipobinusa.org. It is on the screen. You can see it there. Supporting ESN, shielding your brothers, those ones who are fighting the battle in the field, not exposing our people, not making your brother to become in danger, to be killed. These are the things we have to do. I'm going to stop here now. Please share this video. Let the people hear this message. Our people need to hear this message. Our people need to hear this message. Share it on social media platforms, all social media platforms, Instagram, wherever, Twitch, Twitter, wherever, Facebook, WhatsApp, wherever, Instagram, Telegram, wherever. Share it and tell them to share to others. Tell them to listen to this message. Very, very important message. Tell them to listen to this broadcast. Very, very, very important. Thank you so much. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. I have to end this in this note because I'm feeling very emotional and pained about what our leader is going through. So pained about what he's going through. And before I end this broadcast, I'm going to pray this prayer. And as you say with me, let the God of heaven and earth, the God of creation, bring our leader out safe and secure. Let no evil happen to him. Let him live to see Biafra. Let him see Biafra. Let him see Biafra. Let him see Biafra. Father, we pray you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will see Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will come out unhurt. He is protected wherever he is. He is secure wherever he is. He's not going to be a laughing stock. Those people who thought he's going to die, those people who have thought and keep working against him to die, they are going to see him come out strong and rejoice. And they are going to be ashamed. And all of them will be put to death. Just like how they ganged up against Daniel in the Bible and threw him into the lion's den. As soon as he was rescued, everyone who ganged up against him was thrown into that lion's den. And the lions consumed them. Before even they got down, they were already consumed. But Daniel passed through that same place, came out healthy, alive, and strong. The same way we pray for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that dungeon is going to come out healthy, strong, and alive. And all the people who sold him, all the people who have worked against him, will all be put to shame and will die that death they wished for him. Everyone who has sold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in any way, that death they wished for him, that death they wished for him, they will die that death. I proclaim it as a servant of God and as a prophet and as one who is called, who has been in ministry working for the Lord. I speak it from the depth of my heart in collaboration with Biafrans all over the nations of the world and the people listening to me who love God so much and who have this love for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Everyone who has sold him, they will die the death they wished for him. Everyone who have gone into any realm of darkness or any coven, who have gone on a journey of darkness against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they shall not return. They shall be swallowed by that journey. Everyone who has gone on a journey of darkness against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they will die that death. That journey of darkness will consume them and their children and their families. Just like the lion's den consumed the families of those people who composed themselves against Daniel. Not only them were killed in that den, their children and their families were thrown in that den of lions, and all of them were killed and destroyed. The same way everyone who wished Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dead and who threw him into that den of the DSS, that cagey, dingy dungeon of the DSS, everyone who has a hand in him being in that place, they will die that death that they wished for him. They will die that death that they wished for him. They will die that death that they wished for him. They will not survive it. Through Christ our Lord, and in the name of the Almighty God we pray. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the day. If I have the time, I'll come out later in the evening or tomorrow. We'll talk more on issues that concern us. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you wherever you are. Please share this broadcast and also subscribe to this channel, BIAFRA Global Network. Subscribe, and so that we can have more, expansion, and also to propagate this message of hope and redemption for Biafra. Thank you.